So my name is Thomias Radin. I'm a French Guadeloupean artist, performer and painter mostly. And I'm born in Guadeloupe, in the Abîme. And I grew up in Paris, and I did my study in Rennes, in the University of Rennes. And then I moved to Berlin a few years ago. About my mission, I think my mission is just to be the best version of myself and to inspire other people to do so. My operation, obviously I'm a black man, so I need to face some kind of racism, even more since I live in Germany. So when I arrived in Germany, I just discovered a new way of what is it to be a black man. In France, it's completely different. So I need to face new situation and I need to adapt to it. But I would say that it's not so much a operation because I try to elevate myself above the situation and to don't submit to it. And of course, sometimes I need to answer and to respond to it because it can be verbal or people can try to be physical. But I always try to learn from the situation and to don't let it affect me in a way that I carry it in my life constantly with me and to become sour and sad. And so yeah, I will say that's the kind of operation I can have. And in terms of privilege, I think just to be an artist is already a big privilege because there's so many people who cannot even think that being an artist is a possibility. I come from Guadeloupe and like many young people don't even think that it's a possibility for them to be an artist or to live from their art. And that I grew up in France also and that I live in Europe because no matter how rich I am, I still have better conditions than maybe 80% of the population of the world. So in this sense, I think I'm really privileged, no matter what. I live in Berlin since 5 years now. I live in the neighborhood of Friedrichshain. And the way I engage with my territory, I would say the fact that I'm not German, so there's a limit to my connection to the neighborhood or to have social activities, but I will say that I interact with the city and the people through my art. So, and I'm connected also to the hip-hop scene because I'm a dancer and performer. So I try to contribute also in the hip-hop scene. So I go to training, I give workshop, I make myself available if people ask for advice. I'm judging dance competition also. So for me, it's a way to contribute with my knowledge as an artist. And also, I try to give to my art different access, not only mainstream gallery with my painting, but for example, I was curator at Savvy Contemporary. And Savvy have a more politically engaged spectrum. And there I find a balance with my work between the more mainstream side with the mainstream gallery and something more politically engaged. So indirectly, I would say that's my way to communicate with the city of Berlin and the people of Berlin with space like Savvy Contemporary who make this transition and open the possibility of audience that I can reach most of the time. And I have a kid also, so somehow in the future my German is going to be more perfect and I will be able to be more engaged into the society, I think. And yeah, I think that's it. Let's say in general, when I make a work in a studio or a performance, I don't put boundaries to who I'm talking to. The purpose is to have this universal approach. After, I'm really aware that the audience who can see my art is really limited to the Western world so far, because I live also in Europe. So I would say the question for me is more how now in the future I try to have a bigger audience, to have different interaction with my work. And I'm working on it. I would like to also have more exhibition in West Africa, in the Caribbean also, where I come from, because a lot of my work have political subject matter linked to my island, to decolonization. And I guess most of the audience who are concerned by decolonization topics are not living so much in the West. So I would say for me the future is to develop this aspect of my work and to be able to engage more with a more broad audience. And for my work, most of my subject matter also are connected, for example, with my family also, because I'm really focused on also mental health to my work, what we can call bipolarity, schizophrenia, because I have some close relatives who need to deal with this kind of topic, and this motivated me a lot. So when I did my last performance in Venice for the opening of the Biennale, I did a performance named "What a Time to Be Alive," and in this performance it was the first time that I did let's say physical theater, and I impersonate a character at the beginning of the performance. So I have a monologue of 15 minutes where I impersonate this person who's supposed to have a mental disorder and who's constantly fighting with two different kind of narrative. And for me at the end it was a way to bring this idea that how complicated is it to just be a human being in our modern time, because we have our family life, you have your own thought, you have your inner world that you have often difficult to understand. You need to care about many political stuff, war, oppression, and sometimes just the idea to be is overwhelming. So I will say, that's the source of most of my work, is like what I experience and what I see people close to me to experience also. And that's... Like I said earlier, I was curating a program named Sensitivity of Dance at Savvy Contemporary. And Bonaventure, the director of Savvy, who is now the director of HKV, called me and proposed me to take the position of curating performance. And for me, I took this chance to give back to the community of performers and to try to give a different perspective on what is performing art, but from a really dance perspective. So movement connected with music, and kind of to go away from the entertainment label that we often put on dancer who connect music and musicality. Because I feel like often in the contemporary art world, as soon as you disconnect the music from the movement, you become deeply conceptual, and as soon that you enter in a deep musicality, it became more like an entertainment and a show. So I just want, me coming from hip-hop, and often we feel that we don't belong to the contemporary art scene, I wanted to fill this gap, and by curating people also from different fields of dance, but who can tell their own story, because often there is a frustration, I mean, at least for me, there was a frustration that performers, we're seen as moving body, but we have a brain with conceptual movement. There is a source to this movement. So the idea was to really decode what's behind the movement, because movement is much more than just your arms and head moving on the music. It's a whole language of emotion, and you can be educated to learn or to feel and to understand this movement and to understand where people are coming from and why they move this type of way, why they feel this type of way, why they hear music this type of way. So for me, that was really a way to give back also, because I have the chance to do it. And anytime I have the chance to also interact with kids, which I find really important, because I mean, it sounds really cheesy, but they are really, kids are our future, and it's our duty to give them the best out of us and the better education. So anytime I can interact with kids and give them what I have, I try to do. So my first exhibition, I remember it was in Cultural Center in Rennes. In German, it's a younger amt, so this place where the people from maybe poor neighborhood go to spend time and don't be in the street. So I did my first exhibition of painting and performance there, and it was really like fulfilling, because I seen myself into them. Because when I was their age, nobody told me, oh, this is a possibility. I became an artist because maybe I was lucky enough to be a curious kid, because nobody in my family was that artistic practice. I mean, yes, somehow my uncle is a musician and my dad is a carpenter, so this kind of craftsmanship would come really close, but nobody ever told me that, yeah, it's possible. So during the exhibition, I did a tour with the kids and we talked, and I was able to analyze their social behavior also. So there's always the big mouse, the one who talk a bit louder than the other one. And I noticed that some of them were a bit more shy. So I split the group, the big mouse, I put them away, and I keep the more quiet with me. And as soon as I did that, they get more confident and they open. And you get to know that one is doing poetry, one is drawing, and one is writing songs. So I was really amazed, and I tried to push that more and more. And also in 2021, Savvy Contemporary commissioned to me a performance, because they have this program named Colonial Neighborhood, where they challenge the presence of colonial heritage in public space. So for example, there was this big Bismarck statue. So Bismarck, for the one who don't know, is the one who initiated the Conference of Berlin in 1885, where they decided to separate Africa. And with the collective various and groups, it's the cast of this statue of 6 meters high. And I used the cast to use it as a set design and to choreograph the performance. And the performance was in the public space. And the public space was a platz just in front of Savvy Contemporary. And often on this place there is a community of young Rom kids and family who hang there most of the time. So when we came, we installed the performance starts, and somehow the kids were attracted by the colorful aspect of the cast, and they crashed the performance. And people try to stop them, and I make a sign from the head, don't do that, let them. So I ended up performing with the kids, really unexpected, but it could not be even better. I couldn't even plan it. But also the kids was a really good reminder for us that there's problem more also now. We were talking about this decolonization thing, but there's people who are now, and this space belongs to them as much as it belongs to us. It's not because we do this performance. For Savvy was a big institution that it was, and I guess he make everybody humble on this day, because everybody at the beginning when they crash the performance, I guess everybody gets this instinct, oh no, they're messing up the show. But then people realize that it's not a good thought and it's not a good behavior to have, because they're just kids. And you bring them to themselves, and people also cry because they realize how honest was the behavior of the kids, and that you cannot stop them to do anything. It's there, they belong to this place. So I really try to keep constantly, as soon as I have the opportunity to have this connection with younger generation, because I think it's really important. In the future, if I have the opportunity, I would like also to do more of of project, go back to Guadeloupe. Now, to be honest, I cannot do it really because I don't have this social connection. I mean, I got family in Guadeloupe, but I'm not so much infused in the artistic scene there because a long time I didn't went back. But I really want to take the time to reconnect with the social structure there and bring my knowledge basically and try to help and team up with the people there and again build maybe a cultural center, make workshop of painting, give my experience into the art world, bring friends, but this is only in the future, but this is the direction I would like to go also, because I guess it helped to keep a balance also for me. We exhibit also in really sometimes commercial gallery, and yeah. And for example, when I did my first solo exhibition in Los Angeles last February, I dedicated to my island, to Guadeloupe. So the title was in Creole, because I was like, what the best way to present myself to the American crowd than just also reference to where I come from. So the title was in Creole, so people could say that it excludes me and people will not get it. But I find it really important also to claim this heritage of Creole and to put it in front of the eyes of people. So, of course, I'm not naive that the exhibition will not change a lot, but at least is how I can contribute directly to inspire people also from my island, you know. And maybe one day in the archive, someone gonna look up and see, oh, there was a French Guadeloupean painter who exhibit in LA, his title is in Creole. Because we have a lot of political issues also in Guadeloupe with the chlordécone, unemployment. So it's really a complex topic. So yeah, I mean, I try to do with my weapons, with my tools. I think I am in a way like I grew up mostly with women exclusively. So my parents were separated really early on. So I grew up with my mother, my sister, my grandmother, my aunt. So of course there's many men who grew up with women and it don't mean that they are necessarily feminist, but for me it was always obvious what a woman is going through into life. My mom was a single mother and a black woman, so she have even more sometimes struggle to face. So I was really early on really sensitive to that. And to the condition of a woman, period, go to buy the pads, you know, simple stuff, but who really, as a young man, I guess, make me a bit more aware, and also how to treat women and what are their conditions. And growing up as an adult, you have relationship, you get in couple and you engage with other women. And of course, as a man, maybe you can make mistake. But I guess the most important is that I always have this reference of the woman I grew up with, you know, to constantly keep me aware. So since the last 3-4 years, there's the Me Too movement, the feminist movement is stronger, but for me it was somehow always obvious that this equity need to be there between men and women in society. And that's, I think, yeah, I think it's more a matter of perspective, because I can do and I can say what I want, but I would say my action will speak more for me if I'm really consider myself as a feminist. But so far, I would say that I try my best to be in tune with the other gender and to just be respectful and to understand my position in society and how to behave. And also, if I see something, if I witness something, to have the courage also to stand up. Because I also witness many situations in society where people are also maybe don't feel comfortable to go there and often I would say for men men are stuck in manhood, so often it's difficult to project and to put you in the position of the opposite sex. But yeah, I'm really grateful